Hey there, folks. This is Ben Hauck, editor of Stand In Central. We're here on the set of the Showtime television show Nurse Jackie, and I'm here with a very special stand-in to that show. Her name is Alley Mulrain. Why don't you give a hello, Alley?
Hi, Ben and Ben's fans.
Now, Alley, I just said that you were a stand-in on the show. And for whom do you stand in?
I stand in for the Emmy Award-winning Ms. Edie Falco.
That's right. And you've stood in for her for quite some time, am I correct?
Yes, her and I go back to the beginning of The Sopranos, actually.
Oh.
So about 11 years now.
11 years you've stood in for her. So The Sopranos and Nurse Jackie, have you stood in for her on anything else?
Yeah, we did a couple films together. One of them was Freedom Land. We did a couple commercials together. She's been kind enough to, by her request, bring me along when she can to different projects. Mostly stuff that shoots locally.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
So you said you dated back 11 years that you stood in for her. Did it start with The Sopranos?
Yeah, it was actually the pilot of Sopranos came out, and I was actually on a cruise ship in Mexico singing, and I had no idea what The Sopranos was. I thought it was like the Three Tenors. And I came back to town, and a lot of my friends from the business had kept telling me I look like this Carmela Soprano. I look like this Carmela Soprano. So I further investigated Edie, found out it was Edie Falco, went to Grant Wilfley Casting at the time, was booking for Sopranos. I had worked with them before, years ago, and I refreshed their memory of who I was, and that my hair was now blonde, and I look a lot like this Carmela person. So they said at that point, they had an open door. I don't know if they still do, but they said, come on in, we'll take a couple Polaroids. And it was a combination of the timing and the fact that I guess they needed a photo double. I started out as their photo double. I walked into the office, gave them my credentials. I took a couple pictures. The next day they called and basically said, congratulations, you are Edie Falco's photo double. Mm-hmm. At that point, she already had a different stand-in who was not as good as match as I, but I started out as the photo double for the first couple of seasons, and then that sort of bleeded into the full-time stand-in work / photo double.
Oh, I got you. Wow, that's an exciting story. Yeah, I imagine you've told that one over and over again, too.
Yeah, and I don't mind. It's a great story. I kind of feel like blessed in a way that, the time, like I said, the timing, it was a perfect storm for me because I just got back into town. I was out of the circuit for a while, and I happened upon it, and I developed a really nice relationship with Edie, who wouldn't. She's like the most down-to-earth person you know, Ben.
So,
working here.
So what's the nature of your relationship? Would you describe it as professional? To what, how much you talk to her on set?
Well, again, when we first started out, we were kind of giggly because she used to get a kick out of how much we looked like each other. It was like looking in a mirror, she used to say, and so it was kind of odd in the beginning. And I'm very, very outgoing, but I'm quite professional when I'm at work. So in the beginning, I just kind of tried to learn the ropes a little. I didn't have that much stand-in experience at first, so I kind of just did my thing. And then we did Freedom Land together, and we spent a lot more time together on that movie. And we would sit next to each other in the trailer because I had to put a wig on and match her and all that. So we spent a lot more alone time together, and I think we got to know each other more there. And it was that from that point on that I think our working relationship moved in closer. We have each other's emails, and we keep in touch that way. I'm in touch with her manager and her personal assistants. I try to support her, and, when she's in Broadway shows and off-Broadway, I go see her and wish her well on her birthday and the like.
That's a perfect segue into my next question was, how do you find out that you're going to be standing in for her on the next project, Typically, who contacts you?
Excellent question. It's been a variety of people. Sometimes it's her through an email. Sometimes it's through her assistant through a phone call. That's happened before. We did a commercial for Stand Up for Cancer about a year and a half ago. And I got a call. Actually, I got two calls. One from her manager, her personal assistant manager, and one from the actual production office. Mm-hmm. So I think what happens is she probably ends up giving them my information, and then the calls come that way, which is great, because even with Nurse Jackie, as much as I love Central Casting and Jenny, who's awesome, once the motion is in with the season, I deal with Jenny in the beginning, and then it's pretty much like I've become part of sort of the production, the crew. I'm considered crew because I'm here every day. So I just get handed schedules. I'm talking too much.
No, you're fine. Actually, this is a perfect segue into the next question, which is how much does standing in consume your life, whether it be on Nurse Jackie or just standing in general?
Well, this was a huge, huge wake-up call for me because on Sopranos, Carmela didn't work a lot, or she did or she didn't. It depended upon the episode. Of course, James Gandolfini was the lead, so he was there every day, all day. Carmela, not so much. So when Nurse Jackie started, and we did the pilot 3 years ago, and it was a 10-day pilot, and I was working 15-hour days for 10 days in a row, I went, oh my God, this is a little taste of what it's like to stand in for the principal in a 30-minute, dramedy. She's in every scene every single day. And at first it was a little jarring because oh my God, am I going to be able to handle this? This is intense. And it is intense, and I'm tired a lot. And I commute from New Jersey, which adds to my intensity and tiredness. But you kind of work it out. You kind of work out the schedule. You get a routine going.
And we're in the last 2 episodes of a 12-episode season. Where does that put you energy-wise right now?
I'm kind of fluctuating. There'll be days where I just am bleary-eyed and don't want to talk, and there are days like right now where I feel extremely energetic and talkative, and I'm also kind of sad. I'm happy that the holidays are coming up and it'll be a nice little respite, but I'm also sad because everybody that works on this show is great, and the hardest part about the season ending is missing everyone.
In terms of weekends and also the breaks or hiatus when you're on it, what do you do when you're not standing in?
Well, I'm actually a singer. I'm a trained singer. I do a lot of musical theater and a lot of pop work, weddings, clubs, orchestra type things. So I actually do a lot of that too, still, while I'm doing Nurse Jackie on like a Saturday night or a Sunday afternoon. And I'll continue to do that when we wrap. And regroup and get myself out there. I think I need to maybe start auditioning more. I've been kind of like, it's kind of cushy when I'm just working for Edie and not really out there for myself. So
how do you define yourself? Do you find you're not just a stand-in, I take it?
No, I'm definitely a performer. I mean, I'm a singer-actor. I've been singing since I'm 2, and I'm very comfortable singing, and I wish I was doing more of that right now. So I think I'm going to focus more on getting more singing gigs and or musical theater gigs. And actually, it's funny, I think I'd like to break into the commercial world. That's something that's been on the back burner that I think I'd be really good at.
So you see yourself as a singer, performer, standing in as a job, then it's just separate in that. Is that the case?
Yeah. And sometimes people ask me, do you stand in for other people other than Edie, or do you pursue background work? Yes and no. I welcome it. It's not something that I need to be doing, thankfully. I will always stand in for Edie because I love her, and now that we have this 11-year relationship, I'm happy to do it if I'm available, and I usually make myself available for her. And if there was someone else down the line equally as wonderful with a great show that requested me to stand in, I probably would do it. I like being part of the process of a stand-in. It's grueling, and it takes a lot of focus and energy, but it's part of, you feel like you're part of the process of the show and responsible for a lot of it's like you're an understudy and you're rehearsing and you're part of every scene, and it's very exciting.
There's a lot of people who visit Stand-In Central wanting to know how they can become a star's stand-in. I wonder if you have any advice for people who might be seeking how to become a star stand-in, whether they have a certain resemblance to an actor or they just want to get into standing in for someone who might be important to a show. Do you have any advice?
That's a great question. I do. If you guys out there are, on projects, what is it again? Projects?
Casting networks in New York City, yeah.
And you're checking it all the time and you're submitting. Usually you know who you look like. People will tell you, like, oh, you'd be a great stand-in for so-and-so, or, for Glenn Close, or for Halle Berry. And if you kind of fit the height and skin tone requirement, you should definitely submit, and usually there's a little note in the submission where you can put if you've had stand-in experience before or if you would like to get into it. Again, my story is a little odd because it just kind of worked out in a different way, but I know a lot of people that once you start working in the business, even as background, crew members and ADs will notice you if you look like someone. And if you stay in touch with those people that you've made a relationship with, and submit yourself accordingly to a person that you think you'd be good as a stand-in. And follow up politely and professionally. Usually they'll have an interview. They'll probably narrow it down to a few people, and they'll call you in and talk to you, because just like any other job, they want to work with somebody they want to work with. Not just that fits the bill physically, but they want to work with a professional, nice team player, good energy type. So if you're that type of person and you look like someone and you're in the union, start submitting, And you can find out, you would probably know better than me, remember, there's some other websites too that lists what's working, what's in production, and you can kind of get a heads up on what's coming to New York, and maybe there's a movie that's coming just for a few days, and if you fit the bill on a certain actor, find out who's casting for it.
Right.
Maybe send them an email. I know, like Grant Wilfley, you can send them directly an email saying,
Grant Wilfley casting.
Yeah, right. That would be my advice.
Well, good. I think that completes our interview. Alley, it was great to talk to you. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Thanks for listening, and I'm really glad Ben went ahead and came up with this great idea, and I hope it's helpful, and good luck to everybody out there, and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Kwanzaa.
This is Ben Hauck from the set of Nurse Jackie speaking with Alley Mulrain. Thanks for listening to the first interview on Stand In Central.
Bye-bye.